What's good guys, TheoryFighter here, and today I want to talk about character selection. See, my personal experience with Street Fighter, how I started playing was through ST about 6-ish years ago, and I played Balrog the entire time. Like, I never strayed from picking Balrog. I occasionally played in a few other characters just to get their feel and see their weaknesses and stuff, but I just played Balrog, and I transitioned to the newer gen games a bit later, like quite a lot of the ST players really, and I never really realised my weaknesses. I've been watching some of my footage back of just me playing, just watching over and over again my cross Tekken matches and my Street Fighter 4 matches, and I can see really evident weaknesses in how I play. And I actually attribute it back to my original character selection with Balrog and ST, which sounds really funny, but I can see it. Now, if you haven't played ST or you don't know Balrog that well, you don't really walk as Balrog. You use your charge attacks, and that's how you kind of move across the stage and how you approach people. Occasionally you use headbutts, and occasionally you'll use jump-ins depending on the matchup. But it's nearly always you're just moving using the charge attacks and rush punches because they're so powerful in that game. And what I never really learned was how to actually move. Like, I could play footsies, I knew what footsies were, I know how to do them, and I was okay at them with Balrog, but it was a very contrived sense of footsies where you were actually just reacting to where you were adjacent to the opponent and then pressing the according button to beat their button. You know, which is how footsies work, but I was missing the part where it was like you move in and out of that range, or you change the ranges yourself by just walking. You never really have to do that as Balrog. Occasionally you'll do it, but for the most part it's not actually that necessary, and it's something that I completely missed. Now when I look back at my play in Street Fighter 4 and in Cross Tekken, I can see that my movement is terrible. Like, I'm not moving in I'm moving in a way that has so many patterns to it. I'm just going back, forth, pressing a button. And I'm not really actually paying enough attention to the ranges and where I'm stood and how my patterns are working and what the patterns look like adjacent to the other person's patterns. It's completely missing from my game, and it's something that I'm having to catch up on now, and I think this is actually something that newer players can take away. I read an article from Viscant a long time ago on BrokenTier, which I'll link to in the description, and he talks about players, what they should pick as a character when they're starting to play Marvel. And I think the team was Magneto, Doom and Sentinel. And he said that you learn every facet of the game through these three characters. You learn about flies, you learn about tri-dashing, you learn about zoning, all these different elements of the game. And it's obviously quite a good team too, but you learn about all the elements of Marvel through this team. And I think that's actually something that's really important for new players to pick up, because you do become reliant on your character to a certain degree. If you play a character like El Fuerte or Sea Viper, like, sure, they're less, well, El Fuerte is kind of in the same category as ST Balrog in the sense that you rely so heavily on just reacting to what the opponent's doing and then pressing what you need to press and then just going for mix-ups. Like, Balrog is all 50-50s and me reacting to people throwing fireballs or sticking out stupid buttons. That's pretty much 90% of his game until I get you to the corner, and then you just get 50-50 to death. And, you know, it's important for you to pick a character where you're learning about footsies, you're learning about pressure, you're learning about defense, you're learning about safe jumps. You want to learn about everything in the game with your first character choice, because in the end, like, in how long you're playing fighting games, sure, if you're just playing the game for fun, then you pick a character you enjoy the most. But if you're playing because you want to learn about fighting games, I can't really stress enough that it is important you just pick someone like, you know, a Shoto, or you pick someone that just has every sort of tool, but nothing that overpowers everything else. You know, if you pick a Vortex character, you spend so much time like working out safe jumps, working out unblockables, ambiguous cross-ups, and that's all well and good. It's a part of the game and it's something you 100% should learn. But if you're so focused on that, you can really see the rest of your game suffer, I see so many Akuma players that just kind of like, they're doing nothing but looking for a knockdown, which is, you know, it's how you play Akuma, but at the end of the day, you're missing out on this whole other part of your game, which you really should have, and you need to have, because eventually you might want to change character because your one gets nerfed, or you may just want to understand what the opponent is trying to do versus you. If you have to play footsies, you notice their footsies as well. You get better at analysing it and breaking it down. And this is something that will help you to know your ends. It's just the best thing you could ever ask for. It's one of the things you do in hard matchups as well, is you learn the other character, you learn how to play them. And that will help you learn their weaknesses. And I feel like it's the same thing with just the mechanics of the game in general. It's just you need to learn how every character is going to play. And the easiest way to do this is have a very well-rounded character. I know this isn't really specifically helpful because I'm not giving you any examples beyond Shoto's, but it's you should definitely look for those well-rounded characters. That's my advice anyway. I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to play the game for a long period of time, you have to enjoy what you're playing. That is the ultimatum of picking characters in Street Fighter, and picking games, like in general. You've got to pick something you enjoy playing. If you pick up Ryu and you get like, you know, a few weeks in and you're like, this is just not enjoyable for me, then yeah, sure, you should drop him. Like, you got to put fun above everything else, because I know it kind of sucks sometimes because you put like, oh, like personally I really enjoy playing Rose, but then I come up against Rufus in a tournament, I'm like, well, I'm probably going to lose this just due to the matchup for the most part. Like, as hard as I play, it doesn't really take that much effort for the Rufus to just wreck me. Not to shit on any Rufus players, but yeah, you have got to play for fun at the end of the day, because otherwise you won't continue to play. You'll go to a tournament, you realise how shit you are compared to everyone else, and you'll stop playing. What keeps you doing that is your competitive drive and the fact that you enjoy playing the game in general, because believe me, if you're a new player, you're going to go to the first like 6 tournaments and just go 0-2 and then get put out and then play casuals for the rest of the day. And you know, the best thing is if you actually enjoy playing those casuals, as you enjoy playing the game, meeting new people and stuff like that, and that really should be your focus. But this is for those that are trying to improve and like trying to get good at the games or fighting games in general. It's affected how I play now. It's a lot harder for me, I'm finding, to adjust to newer gen games, and it really, by this point, I should have everything kind of reasonably solid, but there is just this massive gap in my knowledge base that I have to personally work on. Anyway guys, I hope that helps some of you. I know this is a bit of a weird video, but I thought it was just something I was thinking about earlier. Anyway, I'll see you soon guys. Peace.